Hello. Hi, just me today. Just thought I would put out a little video / episode of the podcast / interlude. Just to explain a few things. I've had a few conversations about the podcast and I just thought it'd be easier to have this recorded so I can point people in this direction if they ever have questions. So I just want to talk about why I started the podcast, where the idea came from, and kind of why I'm here, why I'm doing this. I had the idea from a long time ago, actually, that it would be cool to do a podcast for dancers was my original idea. And, watching stuff like Joe Rogan or The Breakfast Club or any of these type of things, I thought it would be really cool to have that. And especially like the dance interviews I watched, wasn't a massive fan of them because it was a lot of like, oh, you're my favorite dancer. Who inspired you? Why did you start dancing? Which is like very surface level stuff. And a lot of the conversations I was having in real life were, after events or after parties or, around the dinner table kind of with dancers. And we were getting into some deep topics, whether or not it was about dance. And I was like, man, these people, we're all artists, we're creatives, we've got some cool shit to say, a lot of life experience, and people are kind of asking these really surface level questions. So I was like, that could be an idea one day. Never really, I had a few conversations about it. I was at, there's an organization called Artists for Artists, great organization. But they did a workshop and one of the things was to practice pitching. And I pitched the idea of like a dance podcast. So I kind of gave it some thought here and there. Never really took it seriously. I read a book by a guy called Bobby Hundreds, who is one of the owners of the Hundreds clothing label. And then I was in LA and I went to visit his shop. And then I was on the way back from LA and I was kind of thinking just general thoughts of like, okay, what if the plane crashed and stuff like that? Like just thinking about life because I was flying by myself. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And I was thinking, what would I regret having not done or not taken steps towards if the plane crashed? And one of the things that kept coming back was the podcast idea. And I don't know why, but it just kind of kept popping up in my head that maybe I should think about this more seriously. When I got back, I went to a book release with Bobby Hundreds about the book that I read. And one of the things he said at this, there was a Q&A, and one of the things he said was that he urges everybody to keep a memoir of, a kind of record of their life and their opinions, whether it's a diary that you keep under your bed or a book that you write or a film that you make, something that kind of we can look at when you're gone or whatever. So that was one of the things that I decided this would be for me. A memoir, a record of my thoughts and opinions, a record of the conversations I want to have with the people I want to have them with. And that was the main starting point. So when I choose guests, that's kind of how and why I'm choosing them. I didn't want to do it by myself and just talking to a camera, even though that's what I'm doing right now. But I wanted to have conversations because that's what I love doing. That's where I get most of my, the advice that I get, the great topics that come up is all from conversations. I'm not sitting here just thinking these amazing stuff by myself. It's always sparked by the amazing people I'm around. So I wanted this to reflect that. So when I'm choosing guests, it's because of something that I want. It's because I've had a conversation with them before. There's people that I have great conversations with all the time. There's people that I haven't had great conversations with and I've always wanted to. This is where it's coming from. It's not that I'm trying to do a service for the dance community. If that happens as a side effect, fantastic. If the more people that can be helped by anything you're doing, the better. But I don't want it to seem like, I'm doing something and I'm trying to show different aspects of the dance industry. It's 100% for me at this point. That may change. At the moment, that's what it is. So I've had a lot of people write me and ask me to be on the if they could be on the podcast or if I should have someone else on the podcast, stuff like that. And I love that. I love all the feedback and engagement people are giving me. I'm getting so many people come up and talk to me about it and mention these things. But The thing is, I have some sort of a plan in my head of the types of people I want to talk to and who I want to talk to and when I want to talk to them. So I welcome all the feedback and all the suggestions, but please don't get offended if I don't ask you, or I don't ask your friend or someone that, you know, you've suggested. It's nothing personal. It's just that I need to keep this for me, you know, until the point where it's a profitable avenue, and then that can start to help to dictate where I'm going, then fine. But at the moment, while it's purely, you know, in my own time, taking time out of work to do this, I'm going to do it for me, you know? That's just the first thing I wanted to address. It's been a tough journey for me. Relatively tough compared to a lot of shit. But one thing for me, you know, is like, I never speak on camera ever. I've done a few like submission videos for projects, and I hate doing that. I hate listening to myself back. So this has been really tough for that. And it's been good because I realized through this that I control people's perception of me a lot. I want them to see me in a certain light, so I kind of engineer that, the way I talk, the way I act. This has allowed me to have conversations openly with opinions that I have. I'm not being fake. I'm not adding any sauce for the sake of it, but it's who I really am. So then to have that recorded and put out is pretty tough. Even though I'm the one doing it, but it's pretty tough to kind of actually, when I was in it and I realized, oh shit, this is going out, it made me feel stressed and anxious, you know. I was like, oh, what did I even say? Oh fuck, I said some stupid shit, blah, blah, blah. And I know that I'm going to say some stupid shit at some point. I'm going to say something potentially offensive. I'm going to say something wrong. I'm going to, you know, get my facts fucked up, and I'm going to have to apologize for that. But I kind of accept that. And this is one of the big things I've learned from this is, you know, accepting that I am who I am, and putting that out and being okay with it, and being willing to be educated and to learn and to apologize, you know, which I think is important as a person anyway, let alone if you have a podcast or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to say that for anyone that's listening, and I've said this a couple of times before, still people aren't listening, but I love the feedback. I love the engagement. I love people coming up to me and saying they're listening, or sharing it on their Insta story, or posting about it, or whatever. It's sick. I would just ask, can you please write that a bit more on where you listen? So if you're listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, like and comment on the video, write these reviews that you're giving to me in real life, which is amazing for me as a person, but you know, for the engagement and stuff like that, put it on there. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to tell a friend. If you want to, do it. But just in terms of if there's actual engagement to give, please give it on the medium that you listen or watch on. But yeah, I think that's all. I mean, I hope to do this for as long as I can. Like I said, where it's not a profitable avenue at the moment, I'm trying to do it around my own career and my own work. Obviously, there's less of that because of the coronavirus at the moment, but also that means it's harder to get to have conversations with people. So anyway, in terms of that, we'll keep you posted and see how it goes. In terms of doing this, I'll do this as long as I can. The schedule may not be every week, depending on how life goes. But yeah, I'll keep it going as long as I can, and as long as it makes sense to, and as long as it makes me happy, because the thing I'm trying to keep my head focused on is that this is primarily for me. And then if people enjoy it, fucking fantastic. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick video to explain that. And yeah, the next episode will be out tomorrow, so keep posted and hope you enjoy. Thanks guys.